Hi, it's Romy. Thanks so much for tuning into my channel, Aries. This is your October 2020 soul story. It is a general reading, but if you have an Aries sun, rising or moon, some of the insights and overviews might be relevant and resonate with you over the coming weeks. So you can also join me for the extended version of this reading for a little bit more in-depth insights, and the link for that is in the description box underneath, along with ways to get in contact with me and all of the decks that I'm using in this month's reading. So let's go ahead and get started. There's a lot happening this month. I look forward to seeing what it brings up for you. Okay, Aries, October is going to be a very intense month, but a very productive kind of intensity. And I think for many of you is going to feel like that real moment of culmination and closure that you have been waiting for or have needed in order to give yourself permission to be able to step into something new or to embrace something different within yourself and perhaps in the environment and the circumstances that surround you. So we're opening up your reading with this beautiful burst of energy coming forth in the Nine of Coins. I love all of the yellow that's being illuminated around this figure here. The vibrancy, the charge of that inspiration, creativity, and knowingness of your value. And it's really all about the sense of self. You know, we've got this Mars retrograde working through your sign, and in October we open up the month on the 1st with a full moon in your sign, Aries. And it is a really magical month because we're also closing it out on the 31st with our second blue full moon in the sign of Taurus, same day as Halloween, Samhain. And it really is going to kind of pin this incredibly sacred, magical, kind of alchemical container, if you like, for us to be able to allow these complete transformations to take place and something to emerge, something to bubble up, to be revealed under the light of that full moon, and to come to a point of closure. And for me, when I'm linking into this energy, it's going to be very much around that sense of value that you hold to yourself, and realizing that at this moment in time, the most important thing is that you just need to be true to you. You know, this is about a new level of self-reliancy, of accomplishment, of recognition, and of really being able to find the ways in which you can operate through these very volatile, very shape-shifting, changing, intense landscapes, not losing yourself, not selling yourself out or selling yourself short, okay? And you can see how much she's kind of covered in this, like, you know, variety of sort of colours here, you know, and all of the kind of, I guess the complexity, right? The layering of the energies that are at play through this month of October are going to reveal themselves to you in a very mirrored way, because Libra season is 7th house. It's the energy of your 7th house of relationships, okay? So what you need to do is make sure that you're not absorbing and picking up the energies of others, and that your observations and your awareness of what is being projected and presented back to you is taken from a perspective of it being information, okay? It's not meant to trigger you on an emotional level into a response that you have far outgrown and moved beyond, Aries. What it's meant to do is to demonstrate to you how far you've come. Also, you know, the understanding of perhaps where there is more work to do. And, you know, how I think you find the balance between maintaining that beautiful sense of independence, but also the understanding of how to work collaboratively, respectfully, harmoniously, and lovingly in the most important relationships in your life, whether they be personal or professional. Now, if you are very, very focused this month in terms of business, of, you know, wanting to get those ideas moving, the things happening. Now, you know, October is going to be one of those times where what we're seeing is the landscape will keep shifting. We are going to be pushed and pulled in different directions. You know, we talked last month about how this is impacting powerfully on you because of this Mars retrograde transit. We also have the second of the Mars squaring Pluto the first of which we had back on August 13th, so pay attention to what was happening in and around that time to see where it might be sort of rearing its head again for you, almost the second round of something to deal with. But here we've got the Ten of Pentacles, Ten of Coins energy coming through, and actually, you know, there's something incredibly grounded and secure actually that's coming through straight off the gate in this reading for you, Aries. And so we have the opportunity, the invitation, if you like, to tap into that. Nothing and no one can disrupt that peace, that level of certainty, that level of knowingness in your value, the understanding that home and who feels like home, you know, who is part of that soul family, the people that you want to protect, that you want to be loyal to. Like, no one can disrupt that and take that away from you. So you need to remember that in a month that at times could feel very confusing. You know, these full moon energies at times can be a bit deceptive. We've got Mercury moving retrograde in the sign of Scorpio, a water sign. It's, you know, it's not the easiest of placements for Aries to work with. It does affect that fire within you. I think there's enough of the charge that is going to help you to maintain your centeredness. So I'm not worried about you, but you have to be aware that things might not feel as clear cut, or you might not have all the information or all the nuances. And so there will be moments where you have to rely solely upon, you know, what makes you feel secure within yourself, and just keep drawing upon that, keep reminding yourself, keep calling back to those aspects of you, you know, and remembering how you're using your energy. Because what this is saying to me is you have the invitation here to use your energy incredibly wisely and to help you accomplish some really incredible things, you know. But think about this month as a re-education process. You are finding the right kind of formula for yourself, and moving forward you're going to lock it into place, and it's going to make an incredible difference in the key relationships in your life, most importantly the one that you have with yourself, you know. So Venus moves into the sign of Virgo, an earth sign, on the 2nd of the month, and it activates that 6th house of service and the way that you're taking care of yourself. And that may infiltrate, you know, the way you're wanting to take care of others as well. Now, the Wheel of Fortune coming in is kind of interesting here. You know, this is definitely a month where we're seeing a huge amount of that alchemical process, the magic, the reward, the culmination of things coming to light. And there's a lot of power to harness there. That full moon in your sign is ripe and ready to be visualized and worked on and kind of really tapped into, so that you can draw towards you those exciting synchronicities and the fated kind of events and connections that can show up to really create some energy that's going to make you feel better about what's unfolding and where you're heading. All right. Now Venus in Virgo wants to take care of the details. Yeah, it wants to tend to things nurturingly and compassionately and in a very healing earth medicine kind of a way, which also bodes well in terms of those connections with relationships. We have to remember Mercury in retrograde can muddy the waters, and perhaps we have to revisit some difficult conversations or things that weren't fully agreed upon or have now been opened back up because one or other party involved is now, you know, finding a loophole or realizing it's not quite right for them or the balance is off. So just be prepared for that kind of eventuality to unfold, because there's something maybe a little bit unexpected that you're not really thinking about or fully anticipating at this time. That does not mean to say that you won't be able to handle it beautifully, Aries, but you got to remember that, you know, the desire to want to kind of shoot from the hip might be quite strong. Remember I said the intensity is absolutely here, but it's kind of productive. So I do feel that any kind of conversations that need to take place, or, you know, decisions and choices that you're going to be coming to are going to be progressive and productive. 8 of Wands, okay? And this is what I mean about using the charge of the energy, how you're using it, what you're giving life to, you know? Be malleable, be shape-shifting, be mutable as much as you can, so you can bend in any of these storms that tend to blow up like mini volcanoes, you know, through this time. But also understand that there is some beautiful, sweet energies working in your favor this month to deliver you the news, the messages, the insights, and the understanding, really, in terms of where you're at. That things are changing, they are shifting beyond all recognition. And you might feel, and you need to be prepared for this, Aries, right? You may feel that this month kind of almost acts as a bit of a movie highlight reel for 2020, which could feel a little overwhelming, okay? So we might have a revisitation to some uncomfortable energies or, memories or things that kind of happened earlier in the year. But I don't want you to look at that as like I'm getting sucked back in, or I'm having to go over that, or it's happening all over again. It's not like that. You're coming with hindsight, with new, fresh eyes, having completely transformed with a new sense of self, and it's a time to really be true to you, okay? The other thing that comes through, and I know this is tough, right? Because it can be a really vulnerable, sort of scary place to be when you want to bring people closer, whether that is romantically or, professionally, if you're trying to engage or connect with people. And you end up putting those boundaries or those walls in place to try and protect yourself, but then you're still expecting that, you can see the outcome that you desire, So I think there's a little bit of a conflict for me that I'm picking up this month, Aries, that could surface in and around some of the relationships and connections where you're being asked to really tend to that part of you that's sort of trying to put too many safety gates, safety measures in place, just in case it doesn't work out, just in case they're not who they say they are, just in case I'm going to get hurt again, just in case this won't get off the ground. And I know it's difficult because we want to keep ourselves safe and secure, right? You want to kind of hold that energy. You want to make sure that you're not doing anything to jeopardize it. And yet, when a Wheel of Fortune comes up in your reading, you can't help but move with that outside fated event. And if you try to resist it, it's just going to come in and kind of clear the road anyway, a bit like a bulldozer or like the combine harvester this time of year, right? Where it's just like ploughing the field. So it feels like that means that there has to be a level of openness, a level of vulnerability and of trust. Of blind trust or blind faith perhaps in yourself or someone else or something else. And I think that might kind of stick a little bit for some of you. Now, you may well have already done a tremendous amount of soul work in and around that aspect of yourself and the levels of trust that you have to be open to new experiences, to new things, to new people, or to just allowing people to change. Because here's the thing, 2020 is a year where each and every one of us have been touched so profoundly that no one can really comprehend the level of complete transformation that's taken place deep within each individual. And so we have to kind of give credit and just give people the opportunity to try to show up and demonstrate that. Now, of course, there may be some of you that are saying there's no way I'm giving anyone a second chance, or I don't want to entertain. That's absolutely fine. I'm not saying blanket, everyone's changed for the better. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that, if there's a part of you that wants to, if there's something you're longing for, if there's something you're ready for, and you've come to this new place of really deep understanding about, the worth of you, the value of you, what you have to offer, what you have to give, and you want that kind of an environment in your life, you want to leave that sort of a legacy, then you need to dig deep and you need to work through this conflict. You need to move past the pettiness of situations and conversations. You need to not go low. You need to meet every single moment of every day and let it have its own merit. Like just take it as like a fresh experience over and over and over again. As much as possible, try not to kind of bring all of your past back into the present moment to try to figure out what this means. And that's not an easy feat, right? Because we have 2 planets moving retrograde, and especially with Mercury in that water sign, there's going to be a tendency, because it does make us incredibly emotional, to to go back into that almost kind of passive aggressive kind of energy, where you hurt me before, or you wounded me, or you slighted me, or this didn't work out, and those conversations can get difficult and problematic. So you have a chance to wash away so much of the debris of old chapters that you don't now need to keep rereading. Okay, this is a time of completion, and there is magic in the air, and I want you to be open to that. I want you to think the best of things, have the glass half full, and that might be, again, for some of you, a really difficult pill to swallow if you're looking around your life right now and it's less than desirable in lots of different ways. And even if you're looking out to the wider collective and seeing things that are not balanced. But here we've got Justice card coming in, and it wants to restore some sense of equilibrium in your life. Okay, it wants to bring that harmony in. But you know what? That has to come from inside of you first. You're not going to see the mirroring of it from anyone or anything until you find a way to maintain and hold that within you. Now, I think you're there, or you're right on the brink of it. Because for me, that 9 of coins, like, she's satisfied, she's accomplished, she feels together, So there's something that you have managed to do, to come to terms with, to realize about yourself. And I almost want to feel, it feels like an internal energy. And for some of you, yes, absolutely, there's some beautiful manifestations coming to fruition with that 9 of coins. But really, this is about what you're embodying, And I love that we have the hummingbird here, almost like directly looking toward her throat chakra. So you're having the voice, 8 of Wands. You're being able to communicate in a fair and balanced way. And if you think about the fact that Libra is your opposite and the card of Justice connects to that, it is about that polarization of you being able to kind of understand how to do that effectively with that shadow aspect of yourself, yeah? That's what that mirror season helps to teach us. How are we perceived by others? So finding that balance and that kind of sensibility within yourself through this month is really going to help you to navigate any kind of a challenge. Your strength card coming through is about that beautiful resiliency that you've built up. Nobody else, Aries. Nobody came and gave you, the book of all the answers and said, this is the ABC of how to navigate each and every one of these difficult situations that you've endured through 2020. You showed up. You showed up repeatedly, and you took the crashes of those waves and the disruption and the rugs that got pulled and the way that you were stripped back. And now is the time when you get to really understand what that's meant in terms of your growth and how it's going to start to knit things back together, because here's where the higher wisdom comes in, Hierophant energy. Now, the Hierophant also links into Taurus, and let's talk about this Taurus energy culminating at the end of the month. So powerful. In conversation with Uranus as well. So again, very unexpected revelation coming in around that time, activating your second house of value, of material reward, of abundance, the way that you hold value and how that is mirrored and reflected back to you. It may well be the time that you are looking to say, okay, I need to extend this learning. I need to go and find out more about this aspect of myself or something about the world, There's an educational quality that wants to come in here, There's also something a little bit institutional coming through with the Hierophant and Justice here. Maybe there's some legalities, maybe there's some contracts we're looking at here, right? Again, just remember with these retrograde energies, important to really, really look through all of the details on anything paperwork related, yeah? And if there are challenges that are being presented to you or you're a part of, okay, again, you're being given the strength and the fortitude to be able to show up to this and navigate your way through it. But look again at the emergence of the 9 and the 10 coming through here, wanting to give you surety, wanting to give you some peace of mind and some stability here, okay, regardless of any unexpected twists and turns that may well present themselves. I think there's also something about the commitment, coming into a place of commitment. For some of you, this may well be connected into what's happening your partnerships, you know, your marriages. Obviously, as we move into Scorpio season in your 8th house of shared resources, of partnerships, and you know, your husband or wife or spouse, then, you know, maybe there's something going on here. Maybe there's some challenges financially. Maybe there's some things to overcome in terms of disconnection, where either you feel out in the cold or your partner does, and there's a decision and a choice that needs to be made perhaps through this month of October about, you know, is this a point of completion and ending, or are we going to take this to the new level and try to come back together? Now, maybe in October that's going to feel a little bit uncertain because of all of the energy swirling around. But regardless of that, you're being invited to make sure that you hold that centeredness and that balance, okay? Because it's that independence of thought that's going to give you the strength that you need in any situation that might come up unexpectedly or arise in a way that, you know, perhaps rattles you a little bit, okay? Now, the 5 of coins coming through here, she's almost like moving through a kind of snowstorm, and it reminds me of, like, you know, when you used to see those old black and white tellies, and it would kind of lose signal and it would just go like really fuzzy like that. So for me, I want to say, like, there's something about losing signal. So of course Mercury does deal with tech things, so you may have, you know, additional problems in and around that aspect of things in October, so bear that in mind. But I also feel there's something about, like, losing the signal, losing the connection, and maybe it is with, you know, your own guides, like feeling for a moment that you're not sure, like you can trust yourself or your intuition, or losing that sense of being able to connect with someone else, okay? But remember, the veil is incredibly thin through this month of October. You know, we are working with spirit closer than ever. We are able to connect into our loved ones, to those people who are supporting us from the other world, other dimensions, helping to guide us. They are delivering messages, wanting to validate, wanting to sprinkle those reminders of why we're here, what we're doing, you know, the ways in which we're showing up and how that's going to help us. And so that signal, that connection is always available to you, even if it feels at times a little bit scrambled, all right? You can rely upon that inner guru. It is there for you to be able to access. Now, even if there is a little bit of financial loss or a kind of disruption, okay, the reminder again in this reading, Aries, is to remember that actually what you need to do is find that level of security within yourself first. You are not defined by what is in your bank account, all right, by how many sales you've made, how many clients show up or don't, whether somebody wants to keep you employed or is going to let you go. None of this is impacting on who you are, what you have to offer this world, what the potential, you know, that has yet to be realized within you, and all of the gifts, experience and expertise that you bring to each and every situation. So trying to measure yourself or slipping up and getting caught up in that vibrational energy of feeling less than because of a decision or an external choice that has been made that impacts you, right, is something that Spirit want you to understand and to move beyond, right? That's really, really important, because this is who you are. This level of certainty, this is what you have to offer and bring to the world, that self-reliance and sense of accomplishment. Now, 2 5s and the Hierophant also links into number 5. They do bring challenge, you know, they bring a contrast energy. And we know that you're being affected powerfully at the moment, Aries. But do not underestimate the value of how magical this month can be when you really tap into what you are capable of manifesting for yourself. Yeah, that Wheel of Fortune is bringing in the blessings of Jupiter, which is now direct. Remember, Pluto's going to be direct from the 4th, so that means Pluto, Saturn and Jupiter, all the big heavy hitters, making their way out of this Capricorn energy over the next few weeks. What have you learned? It's been a tough endurance race in that 10th house for you. No mistake there. And yet you've got the ability here to really recognize something powerful about your value and about what you have to offer and how you want to show up in the world. So I don't see this as problematic. I see it as temporary, and I know that you have what it takes to be able to take advantage of any new opportunity or any change in your circumstance and make it work for you. Make it work for you, yeah? See it as a clearing out. See it as a clearing out. Some things have to come to a point of closure and ending because something so much better and more extraordinary and more beautiful wants to make its way towards you. Are you ready for it? I think you are. So don't let the conflict, the pettiness, or what anyone else has to say on the matter impact you from believing that and knowing that to be true. So let's take a look and see how these oracle cards are reflecting your main reading here. Compassion. This is, for me, first and foremost, the compassion has to begin within the self. You know, like we said, you can't, if you're not balanced within, if you don't have that right mind, body, spirit connection, how can you possibly show up to support and help others? Finding that first within yourself and knowing that you can maintain that in spite of any disruption or any chaos that surrounds you will enable you to then show up to the world, to protect those that you love and care about, to see the best for humanity, to give back, to heal, you know, to be of service and be able to demonstrate that in each and every encounter that you have day to day. But, you know, even the light here almost looks like the balancing of the Libra, the two sides, the polarization. So you have to get into synergy. You having to get into harmony with that before you're able to harness and work with that energy. But remember, that full moon in your sign on the 1st is packing a punch. It's packing a punch. And so you do have the ability to be able to use that and use it wisely. And maybe you will need to find compassion for people and things that you don't want to. But there will be something in the learning of that that is so relevant and will be resonant for you in the coming days and weeks, you know, because this is about you giving yourself permission to evolve, to not be the person that you were before, to not let the small stuff affect you in that way, to go bigger. Prosperity lies ahead. Beautiful. New moon in Taurus. I love this dark moon quality because I think so much of what we experience through this month of October is going to kind of feel a little bit like unsure, and yet we'll be sensing our way forward. And Taurus, you know, linking into that Venus energy, and Venus making all these beautiful trines towards the end of the month with Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn, really indicating to you that there's promise in the ideas and the inspiration and the openings and the new things that are coming into your pathway, and you should feel excited. But here's the thing, Taurus knows, you know, there's a process here. There's a process. But expect something coming in around that full moon that is setting you off on a brand new energy cycle that will culminate as we come into Taurus season in 2021, which feels really exciting. So I've got these Halloween cards for this month, which I thought might be fun. So let's take a look and see what's coming through. Apple, risk and reward. Okay, Adam and Eve. All right, so maybe like we said, there is this need, even though we knew it was tough and scary, that if you are pushing people away or creating these barriers or boundaries, but actually it is something that you want, something that you desire, that there is an element of risk that you're going to have to take, you know? And again, that Wheel of Fortune almost feels risky, you know, something about that that's unexpected, and you're going to have to perhaps make your mind up quickly on something. But here the invitation is to say that yes, there is something of value to be gained. And, you know, the kind of representation of a heart here suggests it's something that is connected to your heart chakra, your heart space, something that you want, that you desire. Maybe it is a relationship, but maybe it's just something in your life that you really hold value for. Nothing worth having isn't, you know, gonna come to you without a little bit of challenge and hard work and that focus and that willingness to kind of be brave and put yourself on the line. But remember, this whole month is about the emergence of a new sense of self for you and the ability to be able to operate and move through what could be perceived as really challenging environments, you know, and yet you're still going to rise up with this deep innate wisdom and knowingness that I think is going to serve you really, really well, Aries. So this is a general reading. If it has resonated, and please do visit it throughout the month just to see how the messages resonate as we work our way through October. Please let me know. If you'd like to join me for the extended version, please think about a question I might not have answered in the general reads, and I'm going to pull a couple of cards and we'll go into that in a little bit more detail. You can find the link for the extended version in the description box in the comment section below, okay? So if we just start out with this 9 of Coins energy and we see what's coming through. Card of Temperance, beautiful divine alchemy at play here. Knight of Swords. You're on the go, you know, there's something about the movement. You're on the go, even though we've got that retrograde energy. Finding your direction. So 4 of Pentacles coming in there, and the 5. I mean, there's definitely something going on materially, fiscally, with your security, either financial or emotional, right? That we need to be aware of. Rich creative vision coming through. We've got card of Justice again. Maybe there is a Libra energy that is important, but also I kind of want to say like the scales like have the opportunity to weigh in your favor, but there's also energetic work that you need to do to let that happen. Okay, card of Judgment. So there maybe is some important decisions you're going to be hearing about through this month as well. Kind of links into Pluto as well, Judgment. So that Pluto moving direct on the 4th of the month might be a time to pay attention to. And of course on the 9th, Mars is squaring Pluto. So again, could be to do with that. We've got 2 cards of Strength coming through. There's something being asked of you this month without, you know, that's not in question. But you have what it takes, you know. You can use it to your advantage to create something new and exceptional and actually quite extraordinary for yourself. High Priestess. This is about the trust that you have in you. Trust yourself. Nice to see a couple of aces showing up here for you, Aries. Hermit and the Hierophant, powerful, wise energies to be working with. Trusted advisors, people coming in that can really help to guide you and about finding the way forward. You know, if you're looking for help in and around your business or work or getting the right strategy, I think there's people that are going to be there as mentors and supporters. There's some fear and anxiety popping up. That's understandable, I think, with what's going on. We'll see what that's about in the extended. Okay. Oh, another ace coming in here. Beautiful. 2 of Cups. Lovely. And the Fool. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to leave it there, Aries. If you'd like to join me for the extended, I really look forward to continuing this conversation. Otherwise, I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings for October. Have a magical full moon, and I'll touch base with you again next month. Bye for now.